What's up, y'all? Welcome back. I'm Patrick B. Smith, and welcome back to another edition of A Word from President Pat podcast. Today's topic is something that it's equally a benefit or it can work against you, which are long distance relationships. Now, I have always felt the only way in life to truly be able to work through something or successfully make something work in your life is to just try it and to see where you fall in and what works for you and what doesn't. So there's always great benefits from having relationships that are not near, because you get breaks and you get time to miss each other. And also sometimes when they're apart too long, it becomes very sketchy and, things become a little more gray. So it is a very good discussion to talk about, because I know preferably that it is about where you are in your life if you can commit to something like that, because that does take time to be in relationships. You have to make time for each other, especially if you're in a longer distance relationship, because you have to make an attempt to find time to be together. So I just kind of wanted to talk a bit about it, because I've had relationships that were long distance, and I truly feel like I had a really good relationship and a really good experience from both. Having a relationship where we're living together or we're in the same city, and I've also had relationships where we weren't in the same state and we were far away, and both to me worked out great. It was just a matter of the commitment, and I think that that's the key in any relationship, obviously, but I truly believe a long distance relationship will really truly test your actual commitment, because you're in a whole different area and there's a different lifestyle sometimes, from state to state. We live differently, which is kind of funny to think about it, but there's a lot of ways that people carry themselves in different parts of the world. So there are lots of chances that people can meet other people and it becomes something where we worry. So understandably, that is a fear, but I just kind of want to get into a little ways of why I feel like both can be at an advantage if you do it right and if you are truly committed. So anyway, we'll talk about it and just kind of see exactly what would you prefer, being in a distant relationship or you cannot maintain. For me, I could do either or, but let's just talk about it and see how we come out in the end. Let's get it. I think that in any form of relationship, we have to first truly emotionally connect with someone. And that's the core of beginning stages of being able to really maintain any healthy relationship. So if you throw in the distance part of it, it definitely will become a test to see if you truly are with someone based off of emotions and love, because there's a idea that in your mind and in your heart, you're connected in a lot of ways. You have a sense of safety and trust with each other. So it doesn't matter where you guys are in the world, you're still together. And that's a true gift that people in the world can really live by. If you can be in a relationship with anybody, and you guys truly trust each other and you truly believe that no matter where they are in any part of the world, that they would never do anything to hurt you or cheat on you or lie to you, because you guys are on the same team ultimately. So that's truly a gift, and if you have that in your life, you should be grateful, because it's not rare. It's really not, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because, the last thing people want to deal with is struggling with getting their emotions played with. So I definitely feel like even if it's not a marriage of the full commitment ceremony, if you are spending time with a person as far as investing life choices to move together in the future, which you are together in a relationship. You make plans together, you're hanging out together, you're investing all your time in a person. So understandably, you want to have a commitment of trust there. So I feel like if you guys are in that part of your commitment and you believe that no matter what happens or where I am, then yeah, the long distance relationship will be at advantage, because what that does is it allows you the time and space, that you can have to yourself and be able to rebuild any parts of stress or anything that you can take to yourself and become a much better person to put back into your relationship. Sometimes we go into overdrive and being with somebody so much that we become a little more annoying and resentment, because it's kind of like, man, it's becoming stale and it's the same routine. Sometimes people need just a little refresher. Somebody is not a problem for people to feel suffocated when they're constantly around somebody and when they just want to step away for a moment to catch their breath, to not have to think so much, to not have to be in some of a rush all the time. That's a great break. Your guys are still together, but you get a few moments away to kind of miss each other and come back to each other and have those times to keep the strength in your relationship stronger. So again, I think it's just the matter of maturity, the matter of how you really truly believe that that's your agreement, and there shouldn't be any other thought behind it. I feel that people put too much thought behind situations like that, where if you both agree that, we're in a relationship and we are going to move in different states and still remain, together, if that's the agreement, you both are there, then that's it. That should be the end of the conversation. If anything changes after that, then somebody broke the commitment, and that's where it messed up. It has nothing to do with actual long distance relationships, because when you dismiss saying that, well, I think long distance relationships are horrible and they never work, that's an opinion for your experience. But to dismiss that a long distance relationship would not work because your experience didn't work is not the right response to feed to the world, because you just never know. It works out for plenty of people, and that's my point of this topic, is there's different ways of looking at it. And just because you're looking at it from this direction doesn't necessarily mean you're right or you're wrong. It's just what happened with your particular situation. And that just is a part of life, and the reason people probably do fear, long distance relationship is because the truth of the matter is there's some untrust in your relationship. There's some disloyalty in the relationship, and that's yet not to blame if you were still together and not in a long distance relationship, because that isn't something that traveled with the person. That is an act that isn't that person's character. So I'm saying that we place the blame on these titles because we don't want to accept the truth of what we are involved in the actual situation. That is the cold, hard truth. Is not necessarily where we are with our partners in our relationship. It's where we are emotionally together. And if it's not right, even when we're on the phone or we're in person, that's not going to change because you're in a different space to me. So there's a lot of reasons that I really thought about doing more topics, because the more I write about things and say things out loud and look at these videos and go back into thinking about things that I'm saying, I'm like, so much that I have learned and grew from, because everything I talk about, I have been through that. And it's kind of like, man, life will kick your ass if you let it. And we let some of the smallest things interrupt our relationships, and we feed into it so fast that we get exhausted and we react in ways that, in these relationships so fast, because we are just all over the place when it comes to losing our mind, because we don't have the self-control to let things be as they need to be. If you are in a relationship and if you're afraid that someone moving away from you, and y'all are in a relationship and you feel that that person is probably chancing to leave you, or there's a chance that they'll cheat on you, then that has nothing to do with them moving. That has everything to do with your relationship. Face that and know that's the truth, and stop letting that become why you blame situations on happening. It's because of the act. It's the truth of it, and it's really hard to explain to people who are going to pretend like they don't know what you're talking about. But I used to be so naive for so long, and so glad that I got past that, because it will hold you in so many situations in your life that you're just going to start making it part of your daily life to numb it. And before you know it, you are going to be in these ridiculous, tarnished, toxic relationships because you just made that part of your life, because you don't want to accept the truth that's happening in your relationship. And what's happened is that we began to put too much thought behind what happens naturally. It's truly what scares me for the future, is that we are so easy to manipulate, and we're super easy to give in. And I think that when we become that way, it starts to get in our minds that people are out to get us, or people are no good, or people are bad. And so now you question every relationship in your life. And then what suffers the most are your closest relationship, your intimate relationships, because those are the people who get the most emotions from you, because that's the person you're most vulnerable with. That's the person you're intimate with. So for obvious reason, we know the biggest key in what would make a successful long distance relationship is obviously communication. And it's not we have to talk every day because we don't live in the same area. Don't put so much pressure on that relationship. That is the first start of making that relationship become stressful, because you're putting such a high standard for someone who lives in a different area than you to call you every single day, because there's chances that the day might slip away. So it's just be sure and understand that you will both put in as much effort to stay in touch, because that is should be a part of your daily routine if you are in a relationship, to see and speak to your partner at all times, just to check on them or share anything that you think is interesting. It's part of being in a relationship. So as long as the key factors in your process, in your relationship works, and they're moving in the right direction, then there shouldn't be any issues with no detours, or not even if the destination is miles and miles away, because it's still going to be the same boat flowing the same direction. I also believe that once we know that our commitments are unbreakable, then we just are in another space in our head to worry about anything regarding us being apart, because that's something that has no worries in our life, that we're okay to still be happy and live peaceful life separately and together. And I think that that's what the joy of people in relationships together have so much fun, because they don't have too much pressure on what's going on or what the other one is doing and things like that, because that is what makes you feel so stifled to do anything, to feel like I don't know if I can do this because I have to go home or I have to do this. It's like, we all still can have our individual lives and still be 100% committed. It's just, again, what we are putting on the relationship as far as expectations. And when you take the word relationship and you create whatever your relationship works for you to, that doesn't define the actual definition of a relationship or a long distance relationship. People are just starting to pick and choose based on their experience what it's going to be for the whole entire world. But again, everybody is different, and some people have a higher sense of maturity to overlook things that they can't control. If somebody's going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you. If somebody's going to lie to you, they will lie to you. And the truth of that is just be prepared to accept that not everything is going to go our way. Not every relationship will work out. But if you are committed to what you agree to on your end, then that's really the only thing that should matter. And praying that you find the right person to give that back to you. So ultimately, I really feel that it will depend on what your relationship stands for, and necessarily the odds of you being in a long distance relationship would even become a problem if you both are committed. And so when most people are meeting for the first time, and maybe they're meeting from separate parts of the world, that should be an easier relationship to kind of be in because you're already initially coming in this separately. So I feel like those are some that might be a lot more easier to be successful because that's the initial thing. But for those who are a couple in the beginning and then you have to move apart, or, things like that, that does seem to make things a little different because it's in your mind where you initiated that relationship. And why I say that a lot of times we are hiding the actual emotion of it's not the real reason that long distance relationship doesn't work. It's because of where I am right now in a relationship with this person, that I feel if they move away, they're going to find somebody else or they might cheat. And that's something with my relationship that's already established. I'm just trying to blame them leaving is why I feel that way. And actually, it's like, how can me knowing the person I'm with leaving cause me to feel that way unless I already feel like that? So it does open you up to see yourself in different ways because you are feeling these actual real emotions that you can't deny. And it's no reason to be upset about it because you didn't ask to feel like, oh my God, if my girlfriend or husband or wife or boyfriend move, I might lose them. That is something that's in you for a reason, and as much as you can say, oh, I shouldn't feel like this, I trust him. It's like, if you trust him, then you shouldn't be thinking this. Like, I'm saying there are people who know that they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's moving today and they have no worries because they're good, because that's their relationship. But if you have the other opposite thought, it's something that you feel because of your relationship, and it's the truth. And like I said, as much as we deny it and we don't want to face the truth, it's your emotions you're going to have to lie to. And emotions don't lie. I'm just keeping it real, because when I used to just kind of pretty much surrender to just being in relationships because I just wanted to be in one. But overall, I don't think the actual idea of a long distance relationship isn't something that can't work. I think it's just, again, depends on where you and your person are together in your relationship, whether y'all can withstand being together all the time or if y'all are apart for a couple of days or months. It has nothing to really do with the distance. It has more to do with what's happening with your actual love. So I don't know really why it wouldn't be a bad thing to sometimes have long distance relationships, because again, it gives you time to miss each other, it gives you time to both have your moments to yourself and maybe go see your other friends and things like that. So I don't know. I just think that it's just how you choose to use your relationship and its time on whether it works or it doesn't work for you. So everything in life is more about what we're doing and what's happening from us than whatever type of description that it might sound to be, because again, we all are different people and we have different parts of our emotions and timestamp that we're all in, and not everybody's on the same place. So either way, I appreciate y'all checking me out. Got one more episode after this, and I'm at my 30th episode, and we will be done with season 1. So excited to hit this milestone, but thank y'all for checking me out so far. And it only gets better from here because I have a story to tell. And for those that are watching, you'll see eventually when you keep watching. So y'all be safe. Thank you for watching another episode of A Word from President Pat podcast. Y'all be safe.